Yo! In today's video I'm gonna be the millionth person to do a ranking about all Akatsuki members. But there will be two big differences. I will be the first one to rank every member of the Akatsuki instead of just the main ones. We will talk about everyone who wore the red cloud Akatsuki cloak except for Yura and Mukade, since they were only used as a vessel for the 30% Itachi and Kisame clones. The other difference is my opinion, of course. You can't tell for a fact what the right strength order should be, and that's why there are a lot of different lists out there. I will have some similarities to other lists, but there will also be some unique differences, I guess. It is based on my interpretation of everything we got from the characters, and it is based on individual strength instead of who can beat the rest of the organization. That means that, for example, place 14 could beat place 12, but I think that place 12 is overall the more dangerous and stronger one. But I think you will get it. So, enough talking for now. And let's start with the ranking of all the Akatsuki members. We've got Karin at the last place for obvious reasons. She's purely a support character without any special offensive capabilities. Karin is a specialist when it comes to censoring and healing abilities. And we won't count her Uzumaki chains to her arsenal, since I will only talk about everybody in their time being an Akatsuki member and wearing their Akatsuki cloaks. I think that should make Karin easily the last place. Zetsu chills on the 16th place, and I think it's a big discussable thematic. There are a lot of people who put him higher up, and even though I can kinda understand it, I also kinda don't. He is strong, that's out of question. But most people place him a lot higher because he could keep up with Mei, which I heavily disagree with. He's just someone who is difficult to hit without any slicing technique, but that doesn't bring him on that same level. It feels to me like saying that a fly could keep up with a bear because the fly is difficult to hit with a punch from the bear. I hope it was kinda understandable. At the end, Zetsu was easily stopped by the likes of Chojuro, who also isn't at an enormous high power level. However, Zetsu has the potential of being the number one strongest on this list depending on who he attaches himself to. He was, for example, able to fight the Shinobi Alliance as well as the 3rd Hokage Hiruzen while being attached to Yamato. Attaching himself to the likes of Obito, Madara or Hashirama alone would probably get him to the spot of the most powerful Akatsuki. Juzo is a character some of you might not even know. He was in the manga, but never played an important role in there, and we saw the most of him during an anime-only arc. He's one of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist, and was known and feared by taunting whole battlefields in blood. He wielded a Kubikiri Bosho before Mangetsu and Sabusa got their hands on it. Juzo was also one of the few characters who survived the 8 gates from Might to Die. He also got them basic Kirigakuro moves like water clowns and the hidden mist jutsu. And another important trait of his is that he is a very cooperative guy. He made up some formations with Itachi to coordinate with him and also kinda cared for his safety. And he doesn't underrate anybody since he saw Die. So you could say he's the cooperative and careful Akatsuki version of Sabusa who survived a battle against the 8 gates. And I think that he definitely deserves that spot above Zetsu in here.
Sasuke, 3人でやるよ。はっきり言って
From one Kubikiri Bocho user to the next one, we have Suigetsu on the 14th place. As a child, he was already referred as a prodigy by the likes of Kisame. As Mangetsu's little brother, with the ambition to become better than him, he had more than enough reasons to get stronger. His biggest trademark is the ability to turn into water, which makes him immune to physical attacks and widens his fighting capability by a lot. He can use it for offensive as well as for defensive purposes. It also allows him to pump a huge amount of water into his limbs, which make it grow bigger and stronger, which is a huge advantage as a swordsman. And he gets a big power up if he fights in water, since he can also manipulate the water surrounding him, making him able to fight against the 8 tails before it fires his Bijudama. That liquefying ability grants him a lot of advantages, but it also gives him a huge weakness called lightning. The tiniest bits of electricity can already knock Suigetsu out, which makes him an easy opponent against people who use Raiton. TLDR, he is Juzo, but wet, which makes me place him above him. Jugo will be the 3rd Taka member on this list on place 13. I always thought of Jugo as a little bit stronger than Suigetsu. He's the origin of the Cosmog, which gives him access to nature energy, and his ability to freely transform himself into a nuking weapon arsenal paired with his uncontrollable killer state makes him definitely the most dangerous out of all the previous characters in my opinion. His hard defense and brute strength with his nature energy transformations make him deserve this spot on my list. Hidan is way too underrated in my opinion. He is damn strong even though he is relatively low on this list. His obvious strength is his immortality and paired with his cursing ability. Sharing his physical conditions, he is able to inflict pain onto himself that the other person would die by. Hidan said himself that his attack speed is the slowest and his aim is the lowest in the Akatsuki. And he was still able to defeat the perfect Jinchuriki Yugito, even though he himself said that he probably can't hit her. We also see that a mountain got destroyed in a fight and that Hidan probably didn't get damaged at all. Later on he was able to fight the top class Jonin Azuma alongside being chased by Shikamaru's shadows. He definitely is a top class fighter even though he is ranked the lowest of Akatsuki in terms of attack speed and aim. I'm a little bit conflicted with Deidara. You can exchange him with the next character above him, but I felt a bit more comfortable with him on the 11th place. From C1 to C4 he's got a lot of different styles to blow everything up, be it clay blobs, fighting hand to hand till they explode, an expanding bomb so large it can destroy a large part of a village, or microscopic small bombs that destroy your cells from the inside, disintegrating the whole body. Not to talk about C0 which turns itself into a nuke that destroys everything in a 10-kilometer radius. But Deidara has 3 problems, which made me place him below place 10. First, it's that he is limited by the amount of clay he carries with him. It isn't that big of a problem since that one bag full of clay is enough to do a whole lot, but he will get into a disadvantageous position if he fights someone who can drag the fight out for too long. His second problem is that his abilities can be easily disabled by an experienced enough lightning style user. A bit of electricity is enough to defect every single bomb he's using. And his last problem is that he is way too hot-headed fighting someone. His emotions and pride often take the upper hand, which makes him a less tactical fighter that leads him into a disadvantageous position. Kakuzu was the character I had battling Deidara for this spot. Deidara had more destructive capabilities, but Kakuzu got the versatility with his 5 hearts that contain a different element each, and can grow out as an own entity to fight the enemy, turning the battle into a 5 versus 1. Other advantages of them are that they can fly and fuse together however they want, creating mixtures of at least 2 elements like wind and fire just to unleash a giant inferno. Apart from it, he can turn his body diamond hard, which is strong for defensive purposes as well as for offensive ones. Mixed with a cool and tactical mind, he can be a pretty hard shinobi to deal with.
殺すとき苦労したコレクションだがそれだけに We've
got Sasori on the 9th place, a pretty underrated Akatsuki member which I would have loved to place at like place 6 or something, but I don't feel like I could reasonably do it. Sasori is definitely one of the most dangerous Akatsuki members, since he is a one-hit KO character. Just one scratch of his hidden attacks and his poison will end you. There aren't many people who can counter that poison. Sakura was able to make an antidote with a lot of work after she saw the poison Kankuro, but you won't have the time to develop something like that while you're hit with that. You need to be very poison resistant or need incredible self-healing abilities. And pair with all his puppets that all have poisoned hidden weapons plus some kind of immortality, he would be a threat to nearly everybody in this world. He also has the ability to use the Iron Sand, which was the jutsu that made the 3rd Kazekage one of the strongest people in Sunagakure history. Even Deidara said that Sasori was the stronger one of them, which means a lot from someone with such an ego. I plan to make a separate video about Sasori in future, but I think that should be enough to place him here on the 9th place. Now to the last member of Team Taka, Sasuke Uchiha, on place number 8. We are talking about the Killer Bee fight Sasuke here. He freshly got the power of the Mangekyo Sharingan and with that his Amaterasu and Kagutsushi. Even though Sasuke went still wounded to the fight with Killer Bee, he was able to escape high-speed attacks of him and to defeat him at the end with the Amaterasu. He lost his Cosmog powers and with it the ability to fly, but got with the Amaterasu a long-distance one-hit attack instead. The fight with Deidara and Itachi taught us that he's very analytical and skilled with ninjutsu and genjutsu, and his Mangekyo made his genjutsu even stronger, a foe that deserves the spot above the earlier places in my opinion.
Akatsuki no fukkatsu da.
I think we've got to a controversial placing now. I've got Shin Uchiha at the 7th place, and even though he wasn't a real Akatsuki member, I wanted to include him to make this list as complete as possible. I wasn't sure if I should place him above Sasuke or not, so you can just interchange it by your interpretation, I guess. Shin has a body full of Mangekyo Sharingans, tons of clones who also possess them, and he has the fighting capability to be on par with adult Sakura. His Mangekyo abilities are space-time jutsu that allows him to transport anywhere he wants, and he can take anybody with him. And his other ability is a seal which gives him full control over everything he marks with it. A strong and versatile fighter, probably with a lot of hidden secrets since he is the creation of Orochimaru. Since we are already mentioning Orochimaru, he is my 6th place, even though it is pretty difficult to tell how strong he is. When it comes to his potential, he could take literally any place on this list, which makes him weird to rank. But I felt like putting unhealthy Akatsuki time Orochimaru above Sasuke feels fair, since it was kinda teased that Orochimaru was still at the same level as a much stronger Sasuke who's got the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. I'm not sure where to start with his abilities, be it his snakes, resurrections, Edo Tensei, sage powers, usage of all elements and much more. As I said, he can do potentially anything, and he's way too underrated because he only fights the strongest characters all the time. Orochimaru was so strong that his death relieved Kisame because they don't need to try to kill him anymore, which is also some kind of big respect, and no matter what you do to Orochimaru, you just won't get rid of him. Well, I already said that Shin could be controversial, but the same goes for Konan at the 5th place. The definition of underrated. She was able to kill Obito with a sea that split into 600 billion paper bombs. Obito had to take her seriously afterwards. She was also the one who defeated Sasori, who used the 3rd Kazekage puppet in the Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm Revolution OVAs, which are written by Kishimoto. She can also make at least 12 paper clones that can either detonate on enemies or suffocate them. Konan is also able to fly and attack from far away. Her only real weakness is oil, and well, you won't see that many people trying to oil Konan up or something like that. I think she deserves this spot high up. Kisame Hoshigaki sits comfortably on the 4th place, and I think that the most of us can agree to that. The chakra beast of the Akatsuki, he can absorb chakra and ninjutsu even without Samehada. Together with Samehada, he gets even deadlier. They can fuse together and make a giant water bubble which will suffocate them slowly. He can breathe and move faster than anyone inside that bubble, since he becomes like a shark. Plus he always stays the center of the bubble, meaning that it travels with him, so nobody can escape out of that. No matter how strong the enemy, he will absorb all your chakra and stamina just by touching you. Kisame only grows stronger while the enemy gets weaker. He easily defeated Killer Bee with that, and even without Samehada he can fight pretty well. Guy needed to activate his 7th gate to defeat Kisame without Samehada, and he would probably even have won that fight if Guy would have been a ninjutsu fighter. Great character and definitely deserving the place as the 4th strongest Akatsuki member in my opinion.
再現してみろ。
I would say that Itachi is the 3rd strongest Akatsuki member. Even though he is known for stamina problems, he can fight the strongest people, defeating most people instantly with a genjutsu, escaping from Jiraiya's toad prison with the Amaterasu, sealing Orochimaru with his Susanoo, while being blind and exhausted from fighting Sasuke, and so on. An enormous skill set, and that even without the Sharingans. He is skilled in every class, be it ninjutsu, taijutsu or genjutsu. It took Sasuke also to get the EMS to be called a rival to Itachi. He isn't at his peak here, since I would say that he is definitely stronger as an Edo Tensei, but he's definitely a top 3 Akatsuki candidate in my opinion. You could probably exchange him with the 2nd place, but I felt more comfortable putting him as 3rd strongest.
我々はペイン。神だ。
We have Pain, or better said Nagato, on the 2nd place. He is very versatile with his 6 paths of pain. With them he can do multiple strong summoning jutsus to pressure and overwhelm the enemy, he can absorb chakra and jutsus, he can rip out souls to instant kill weaker enemies, he can revive and reconstruct damaged paths of pain, capture souls and kill people with a lie detector and much more. He has one broken ability after another. And I didn't even talk about the main pain, Tendo. He can repel anything around him, draw anything to him, and seal anybody into a little planet-like thing with the Chibaku Tensei. Since all the bodies are already dead, they can't feel any physical pain, which makes them even more dangerous in a battle. Pain has a massive amount of stamina if he doesn't use the Shinra Tensei that destroyed the Leaf Village, and even if every path of pain gets defeated, Nagato could easily create new ones. So you also need a way to find the original body. A monster with broken hex abilities that will overwhelm the enemy by numbers and an undying amount of stamina. That's what made me choose Pain as the second strongest member in Akatsuki.
ヘアに凛々しい眉毛素敵な全身タイツのこの人ですこれはないなカツ
And the obvious remaining Akatsuki member on first place is Rock Lee. Even at a young age, Lee was able to break through Gaara's Zenshi, which is one of the mightiest barriers. Why am I even doing this?
信じられないなんてね
思った通りだ
Yeah, Tobi or Obito is obviously the strongest Akatsuki member. I think most of you will agree with me here. The standalone reason is his Kamui, which makes him literally untouchable if you can't get him under constant attacks for over 5 minutes. Besides his Kamui, he also has a spare Sharingan, which he can use for the Izanagi if the unexpected happens. He has Hachirama cells in his body, giving him regenerative abilities and the wood style. He can use a Sharingan Genjutsu that seems to be on the same level as the Kota Matsukami, since he had the 4th Mitsukage Yagura under his possession, who was a perfect Jinchuriki, and he stayed under that Genjutsu till the end. Obito was also so powerful that the whole Shinobi world believed him to be Madara Uchiha. Obito is just that broken. And yes, even though he himself stated that he would be dead if Itachi knew about his secrets, that doesn't mean that Itachi was stronger than him. It was an off-guard attack that would have killed him, which isn't an argument for Itachi to be stronger than him. If that's the case, then Konan has also to be stronger than Obito, and Zetsu has to be stronger than Madara, and that's just not the case. I hope I was able to make my points clear enough. You don't have to agree with my list, since it always depends on subjective interpretations of everything. But it is just a list I came up with. Hopefully it was at least relatable enough. I would love to see your list in the comments below if your list differs from mine, and you can also tell me if I was able to bring up something new to you. Like this video if you enjoyed watching it, and don't forget to subscribe to not miss any content like that in future. Thank you for watching, and take care of yourselves. Bye!